double click a little bit on what Todd and Lainey and Partha you said about this continuous training, continuous leadership. Todd, you mentioned the word how. What's the difference between management and leadership, and how are you going to coach? So, Lainey, it's really interesting. I was with this big group of CHROs just yesterday in New York City. And Dave Ulrich was the guest speaker, who's legendary in HR. And he said, so we're doing all these programs. We do leadership development. We're giving you this education and so on. So that what? So his big question is, so that what? And the so that is so that you can stay in business, right? And so we want to do all these things to be nice so that we can stay in business. This concept, though, of being a coach as well as being a leader, are you seeing that more and more, Lainey? And then I'd be interested in Todd and your take on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a direct correlation between a leader's ability to coach and employee engagement, right? So, clearly there are times where coaching, which is more drawing out the answers from your team member and supporting them to kind of get there on their own, excuse me, there are times that that's not the right answer, right? If somebody's learning to drive a car for the first time, you're not going to ask them what they should do when they're about to hit a car. You're going to tell them, right? But but ultimately, coaching enables you to build the strength in the person on your team. And from an engagement perspective, nothing better than helping somebody solve their own problems, come up with their own ideas. And I think that's a really important transition. We were going back to what we were talking about before in terms of how leaders sort of end up in their spots, right? So being able to coach and not give the answer when that's something that you want to do and you know the way you would do it, I think is really key to engagement. So that's my long-winded way of saying yes, absolutely.
Good. Todd, what would you add?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to back up everything. What Lainey said. No, I mean,
just ditto, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, I think, absolutely, you have to train because management, right, is managing process. But to Lainey's point, how do I individualize that coaching to make sure that I'm maximizing their potential here and now? And then how do I prepare them for the future? Coaches can do that. And as Lainey says, and I always go back, situational leadership, SL2s in my head, right? So if somebody's learning a skill, task, or goal, then to Lainey's point, I have to provide direction and support and show them what good looks like to help them, coach them to get to the side where they're doing it and they're doing it well. And then I think to that, you're starting to make really what they call D4, or, D4, we're very self driven employees. And that's where we want that autonomous mindset where they know how to do it. They know how to do it well. And I don't have to get in their way. And so I can free them up to do their job really well. I think the other interesting thing is if you look at coaching, you look at taking these middle managers who have some talent for coaching and you invest your time and money and development in them. What it's been shown is that they drive 47% more profitability than an average manager. So if you invest in these middle managers and move them up into that higher level talent of management, you're going to drive 47% more profitability than your average manager. And I don't think there's a company out here listening to this call right now who would say, I don't want 47%.
I don't want more. No,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
a bad idea.
So coaching has a profound impact on not only a company's, culture and the engagement of the employee, but performance. And the better we can coach, the more performance you're going to drive and more engagement you're going to drive.
So, Partha, are you seeing that in your overview of a lot of companies that coaching isn't just for senior management anymore? It's more, they're pushing it down to middle management. And how are they doing that?
No, I definitely see that through our interactions with different, and also in our own company. Okay, we are a small company. I mean, we are 200, and Lainey's 200,000. So, it's like, see, the coaching part which you talk about, and I also think that it's not like leaders know everything. They can just give the direction, okay, and the framework, okay, some kind of framework to be given that these are the things, this is how, whatever we're talking about, developing the next set of leaders, some direction and some framework. People will pick it up on their own. And there are so many different, resources out there, while the training programs are there, but outside there are also so much literature out there and people can pick up if you give the direction, the framework. And I think what we are trying to do is lead by example. I'm sure someone else will say that, okay, bad examples, but lead by example. but demonstrating certain traits like, transparency, communication, accountability. Hopefully they'll pick it up from there. Okay, I can give you all the trainings about communication. I can give you all the trainings about accountability. If you don't see the leader and the coach actually doing that,
Yeah.
I think you will not pick it up. Okay, and also it's important to recognize and reward, the leadership, the right leadership skills. Sometimes all of you are there, but Chester showed these behaviors. Okay, if I recognize Chester for taking ownership of certain things, so if I can reward and recognize certain leadership behaviors, it's important. For leaders also to get the feedback. They also get the feedback there.
Right.
So
Right.
we see that happening in our company, and we see it in a few examples outside. While I don't have too much, I don't have. I'm not privy to a lot of their internal development programs, but I see the trend there.